What's up, guys? Today is day 13 of my journey to 2000, and I played a bunch of games, as you can see on the top, tabs on top. I didn't do any puzzles, but we're going to go over these games. Last time I was like almost 1450, which is crazy, and this time I kind of redeemed myself. So let's go through the games. The first game here is a Karo Khan Hillbilly attack, which I didn't know that was the name, but every time the bishop comes out, I know it's slightly worse for white, just because I played it against it so much. And it basically forces white to move their bishop twice, which you don't want to move the same piece multiple times in the opening. It also gives me 2 pawns to push towards the center and other stuff. Anyway, the game progresses. It doesn't really matter, though, because we're both beginners and we don't know what we're doing. See, I had an advantage here. I didn't see the best move was to take. This, I never liked doing this because then the pawn feels like a nuisance. Is really a nuisance. That's a weird word to use. It's really annoying to get rid of, and I don't want to do this because then I lose the pawn. But apparently it's fine because I could move my knight here, redirecting it, and I'm still winning, and I could start attacking on this side and bring pieces to fight. Okay, anyway, that's not what happens. First I take his knight there, I push my pawn, and here my best move, this actually loses me this game, spoiler alert, my best move was to bring the knight here, and I'm winning. Slightly. Whatever. And the reasoning is I attack the queen, yeah, and I attack the pawn, and obviously he could still defend the pawn. But I could very easily start putting pressure on this pawn with my queen. And I didn't realize this. I just didn't realize it. White can defend like this, but then I could go d2, forking just everything, and winning a rook. Okay, I didn't see that. Instead, I come here attacking the queen, because in some lines I feel like that's just a thing. So I did it. I didn't like analyze. It took me 4 seconds to do this move. And what I didn't really think through is that after the queen attacks, I don't really have anywhere to go. And so I have to kind of just deal with it. Engine is saying, don't worry, you could let him take. I'm guessing because you could trap the bishop here. And do something like this. That's kind of cool, actually. I didn't even think about that. Anyway, I defend here. He takes with his bishop, and I see this is a very strong and annoying attack. And he brings the bishop back to defend this pawn. I take the pawn, but my best move right away was taking, because in this position, I still have eyes on the pawn. Apparently, I'm still losing here, because he could just go here to defend. So maybe I was a little off. Yeah, e5, I'm sorry. e5 was the best move. And then if something like this, then I could come here and even trade like this. And then lose the game because my rook is hanging. Trade like this. Okay, and this is more equal. Anyway, maybe something else was there. I don't know. Anyway, that's not what happens. I take here, and I'm like analyzing, and I'm like, is there anything I could do? Is there anything I could do? Like, what do you do here? I thought so. I think where was it? At this point, I thought for a minute, didn't know what the best move was to do. I thought, okay, this at least covers here. I didn't know what to do. So yeah, my best move, take, and then getting into the position. And if this, I'm sorry, I could just take the pawn. I'm stupid. I'm not trying to go for a trade here. I just take the pawn. I analyzed this before this video. I'm just lost right now, so I apologize for that, guys. But yeah, I just take the pawn. I didn't see that. And so I just like get completely demolished, and here I resign. And here, you know, my queen is under attack. Let's say I take. There's not much I could do here. Here I'm winning because I take with my pawn, so that was not what I meant to do. But the point here is that after this, if I don't take with my rook, you know, he checkmates me. And if I take with my rook, I actually have no way out of checkmate. This pawn is just super powerful, and I had a way to take it out. I just was lost. Okay, so I lost to 1400 there. Pretty crazy. Second, by the way, no disrespect to 1400s. I mean, I was 1400, whatever, right? It's just like crazy. Like I thought I was making progress, and then I lost a lot of elo. Whatever. That's what happens in chess. This is, what is this? This is a Sicilian. And we just go through it. I'm not going to go over everything because I don't know everything. And here he opens up his king. I think, okay, this puts me in a better position. Apparently not really by much because he has these 3 center pawns. I only have 1. And I connect the pawns here. Apparently this was just not a good idea because black can start attacking me. And I don't really have much I could do. Now, if I castle here, I'm still losing. But in the game, I end up, after the knight coming here, castling this way. Because I was scared of the queen and rook and the open file attacking me. So let me just show you what would happen if, for whatever reason, he pushed here and I castled here. Excuse me. He could attack my knight. My knight can't go here or here, obviously. I really can't go anywhere except d2. Then the knight could get into the position, but he could even attack further. Now, if I take, his rook gets into the position, and it's just looking terrible. He could start opening this up eventually and get his queen into the game. But let's say I don't take and I go forward. I think his knight gets into the position, and eventually he just pushes and gets his queen in. Whatever, I analyzed this a little bit before. I just would have been screwed. I probably should have just castled normally. But I don't do that. I castle this way, and thankfully he did push his knight into the position, allowing me to take, or allowing him to take. He takes, I go towards the center, and he pushes this pawn and lets me, you know, be up a pawn. And that kind of just spells defeat for him. I decided it's worth trading queens because I'm up a pawn, and I'm not a GM, but maybe I could figure something out. And here, I'm winning by so much with this beautiful pawn move, which protects the rook, and I'm still threatening to take the rook. If he goes back, then I have this check winning his rook, his other rook. Didn't see it. Just run away. And then finally, I see this idea that I could check and win, you know, at least win the pawn. And I do that. So now I'm up 2 pawns. Okay, here we just start trading, blah, blah, blah. And I see, oh my god, it would be so funny if he goes here and my rook can, like, checkmate him. That would be funny. It happens. Yeah, let's look at this game. My accuracy is not that well, though, so... You know, I still gotta analyze games to understand my mistakes more, or openings. I think it's time to study openings more. Anyway, I give up my bishop with this grand idea that I'm just putting a lot of pressure on white right away. And that's literally it. That was my grand idea. Maybe I could push this pawn and whatever. And you'll see what happens in the game, but we both missed this amazing move. So I saw this bishop threat winning my queen. But the reason why this move is so good is, let's say I come here, right? I can't come here. Well, I guess I can come here. He gets into the position and takes a rook. That's basically the reason why it was bad. Because if I come here or here, that's what happens. Here I blunder my queen, and he gets into the position, and it's frustrating. He gets his knight in there because I have to deal with the bishop. Whatever. We both missed it. He brings the knight the other way. I bring my king to safety, so the bishop isn't as annoying. He tries to attack. I give up a pawn to kind of go forward, and that was kind of a cool back and forth. And I see all the way back here that I could pin the knight with my h7 pawn. Like, I'm like, oh, maybe I could, you know, because my queen is there. Not pin with my h7 pawn, but, you know, take the knight with my h7 pawn. And that's what ends up happening. Here I had my opponent resigned after some thinking. I had a forced mate here, which is kind of cool. If he took. Oop, not like that. Like this, because the bishop covers, but whatever. I won that game. I lost 1 game, drew 1 game, and everything else I won. Oops, that was a spoiler alert. Anyway, this is a Scotch opening. And I'm always scared. This is, I think, the big lesson of today. I'm always scared in the Scotch of losing this pawn with check. It just seems scary. What I didn't realize is this pawn is actually defended. And I could start developing and get my king to safety pretty quickly. He only has his queen out. I kind of didn't pay attention to that. And that's the reason I kind of miss all of these moves. Like this, look at how beautiful this move is, attacking the rook. And if, let's say, he, I don't know, develops the knight, I could take the rook, he could take this, but then my queen actually watches the e4 square. So I just kind of missed all of those ideas. Hopefully I'll start seeing them from now on. And it just, at this point, I actually saw this move. At this point, I saw this move of the queen coming here, but I was super scared of, like, just like, he has a discovered attack against me. If I come here, Then he comes here with check. It looked too scary. And I was right, it was scary. But the point here, I think that is if he comes here, I didn't analyze this far actually, before the video. Apparently I could long castle. And then I have these crazy threats. And the other idea is that, let's say he takes with the queen. Let's say I didn't develop my knight, and I did it a turn earlier, and he takes with the queen, and I come here. If he's not careful, this is a checkmate threat. I'd move like 9 or 10 or whatever. So like a lot of cool stuff you could do in the Scotch apparently, and I just missed all of it. I just go for trading queens and trying to go into a better position, and he castles this way, and I'm just like, why did he do that? I feel like I'm winning. And this I thought was fine because it opens up my rook, even though my pawn structure becomes worse. I mean, the engine rightfully says, I guess. Well, it's an engine, of course it's right, but it says, like, you don't want double pawns, I guess, and just bring your bishop back to safety, but I digress. We trade there and bring some pieces in, and I was kind of proud of this move. What I didn't notice is that if something like this happens... oh, apparently that's pretty good, I guess, because it opens a line for my rook. But the better move here was to take, and then take this pawn, which is so cool. And if he takes back, then obviously I'm winning. Like, look how sporadic his pawn structure is. But anyway, I still saw something that I thought was kind of cool, leaving my knight hanging by taking the pawn. And yeah, doing all this stuff. Anyway, brilliant move comes into play. Sorry, I was just speeding through that. Brilliant move, sacrificing my rook because I actually saw something. Maybe all these puzzles actually have helped. And what I saw is exactly what happened. He takes. I fork his king and his rook. Apparently his best move was to come here. Okay, interesting. But anyway, I take his rook. I guess because his king is not situated as well. And I have these ideas of coming here and taking and just like, I don't know, going crazy back and forth. Whatever, I play it like this. And I finally learned to move my king forward. But what I have not learned is to not be afraid of discovered attacks on my king. I'm still afraid. That's why I end up trading here, and we go into an endgame where both pawns are promoting. Well, I guess I meant this, or takes and then pushes. My best move here? Don't worry, because you ended up taking this pawn, and you could probably trade this for this, and then just get a queen against rook, you know, and you still have 2 pawns against, like, it's just nice. I didn't see any of that. I was too scared, and this is what ends up happening. I count around here. For some reason, I thought I could promote before him. I count around here. I'm like, shit, okay. I guess we're both getting queens. And the engine says it's even, and it exactly is. Like, we both spent time thinking. I spent more time, I guess, and it just ended up being a draw. But that was my one draw, actually. I mentioned that I lost one and I drew one. I didn't even get to the draw. That was my draw, which I could have won. Everything else, I won. I mean, did I? But how did I win? That's the interesting part, right? So here we get a bunch of stuff going on. His pawns are really in the game, but you know, he lets me break through, which is nice. And here he just ignores this. And I knew this was a bad move. Somehow I understood that him kind of ignoring this will allow me to kick his bishop away. And that's exactly what I do. I kick his bishop away, and now there's not as many threats on my king. That being said, I still play stupidly. I was scared of the pawn coming in and the queen, the knight, the rook, like opening lines for his rook. I was scared of all that, so I pushed this pawn forward. Apparently this is the best move because if he comes here, there's actually no attack. Like the bishop can't do anything here. I could even try to trade it maybe, right? And his rook is closed off, and he can't push this pawn because the knight's in the way, and he can't take this because the bishop. So it's just good. Like the engine says it's good, but those are the reasons I'm guessing why it's good. That's not what I do. I do all this, and I think, you know, let's just trade rooks. He doesn't go for it, which lets me check, and then take. Now here, his best move was to take with the queen. Jesus, I didn't even realize that. That's insane. Who would do that? Why is that the best move? Oh, it's probably because of stuff I can't even see because I'm too stupid for this game. Is it because after this, I just... Yeah, I see. I don't know. I'm too stupid for this. I'm just putting immense amount of pressure on shit. I don't know, man. Whatever. We'll pretend that I understand that. And I just bring my queen into the position and think, okay, gotta be a little careful, but I won that pawn. I'm doing pretty good. And I'm looking. I'm like, there's a perfect moment. This is why I moved my rook here. And it was the best move, too. That's kind of cool. There's a perfect moment where I could win his queen. And, I blundered checkmate in 3! He doesn't see it. It's some crazy shit, though. It's some crazy stuff. Look at this. Check. I can't go here because of the bishop, right? I can't go here because of the pawn. I can't go here because of the knight. So I'm forced back. And look at this. Discover check, and bishop takes away the escape squares. It's like sideways if it was a pawn or something, right? And that's checkmate. That's so freaking beautiful. And I was scared of these pieces being in my position, like doing something, but I didn't see that. And neither did my opponent. The funny thing is, there's just so many things going on here. And if I saw this queen sacrifice, that would have been beautiful, but I still could have hung mate. Because look, if let's say he comes here, and let's say I take with the knight. Let's say I take with the knight, because taking with the rook, maybe I'm thinking, you know, I don't know, he could run away, or let's say I don't want to trade it for whatever reason, it looks more annoying. If I took with the knight, he has checkmate again with the same exact way. I can't, so if I come here, why does it work? Oh no, it's not the same exact way, because this is my only good move. But now the pawn pushes the checkmate. And here it's the same exact thing. Except instead of here, my king is here and I can't escape. So that's insane. That's just so cool. Here, obviously, taking with the rook is the better choice, because now if you do something like this and you move forward and you do something like this, you could bring the knight. You could take out the pawn with the knight. Okay, anyway. That's not what happens in this game. I just thought, oh my god, this game has so many gems, like so many cool stuff. And I just stepped back, and then I finally am ready to take his queen with that cool little trick. Okay, at this point, I'm just trying not to hang mate, not to hang my queen, and to get into the position. I saw that I could come here, but I was scared. I thought my queen maybe had to be here just in case. So I run my king to the other side, but his rook gets there, and I try again, and his rook gets there, and I find the perfect moments. By perfect moments, I just wait until he stops chucking me to trade pieces. So we trade bishops, and now I'm like, okay, I'm winning. At this point, mind you, I'm thinking a lot. Trying not to get mated, trying not to get hit. And I have 38 seconds on the clock. But I'm not that bad that I would lose this game, this end game. This is what ends up happening, and my opponent resigns when he sees I could promote to a queen and I have 19 seconds against 4 minutes. Okay. This is second to last game. We have a Sicilian. And here, the idea with the Sicilian, this is something that could happen. And the queen is just super annoying. Can't castle, can't target it very easily, blah, blah, blah. That's why people play different moves. I thought that's why people play this, because now this is unplayable. But this doesn't work because of what happens in the game a little bit. We have all of this, and after this, I have this bishop move, which I didn't see. And I think the purpose is that you have like some cute little tricks. You know, first of all, if he comes here, you could literally take with check, and your knight is safe because of the bishop. You know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's just assume. The point is you have a lot of pressure here. The knight and the bishop attack this square, which can give a fork and attack the queen and blah, blah, blah. Whatever, I don't see that. I push the pawn. And here I blunder. I'm playing... My opponent played 17 seconds. Took 17 seconds to get to this position. And I'm thinking, I got to play fast. And I'm taking some time, but I'm playing faster than I normally would. I'm not thinking as much. And here I actually saw this blunder in-game. And I thought, oh my god, I just lost. I'm never going to get back to 1500. Because if he takes here, and I take, and let's say he takes, doesn't really matter, I'm losing. He gets my knight. So I blunder, but my opponent is playing quick. And, well, I guess here, actually, he spent, like, 14 seconds or whatever. I can't do math, whatever. 24 seconds, whatever it was. Thinking and didn't see it, I guess. And I was able to do this because I knew my knight here had some threats here. I knew it. And I even saw that when my queen takes, the reason why I played this move, the reason why I played this pawn move is because I saw that if my queen takes, then this would happen, and it happens in the game. I just kind of ignored that my knight could be taken. But anyway, when he pushed his a7 pawn. This is what ends up happening. I get out of, you know, I don't want this to happen, losing my knight. So I get out of the way, and then I fork, get his rook, and he resigns. Okay, last game. You know, I've been holding you guys hostage for quite some time. Here's a Caro Khan. Gets into a really weird position because but it's neutral. It's neutral. I don't do the typical stuff with Caro Khan in this game. I don't put pressure on the d4 pawn. I just play my own way. And the way that the game progresses becomes neutral. And it was such an interesting position, I think. At least to me. And this was kind of the vital moment that I analyzed, because I thought this was so cool. So the idea here is that after takes and takes, it opens up my rook, which is why I thought it was fine, but the bishop gets into the position, and I'm just losing. I'm assuming because he could start pushing his shit and bring his other bishop into the game. Whatever. That's why I'm losing, and that's why actually my best move is to actually bring the bishop here. Now, what happens in the game, and then this, and the difference here is that the bishop is now blocked. And if the pawn attacks, you know, I could take the bishop, and if he tries to escape, he can't. I'm gonna win the bishop. So I didn't see that. That's so freaking cool. But my opponent didn't see it either, and after takes, he attacks my knight right away, and I take the bishop. And now that threat of the bishop coming in is gone. And I double my rooks and go for this attack, and I spend like a minute here thinking about different stuff, and I see if takes, if he comes here, I could take, if he comes here. Like, I'm looking at all this, and it kind of plays out how I thought, even though I didn't play the best move here. They wanted me to take here, because if takes back, I have this, and I have more. My queen actually covers the rook. I did not see that. That's so cool. Just so cool. I did not see the fact that my queen covers the f2 square. Anyway, this is what happens. Everything that I thought, and I see, oh wow, I could actually maybe try to push this pawn. He goes there with his queen to protect, and I think, oh, now I could attack this pawn, forgetting that the queen watches it for some reason. I bring it back to keep up the pressure there, and then I think, okay, I can attack here, and I'm thinking I could attack here because this is not a threat. This is not a threat. The queen watches it, and this square is not a threat because the pawn watches this, right? So everything is kind of protected. The rook can't get in. I'm gonna take this pawn and, you know, help my pawn push. Maybe come here if the rook, whatever. Like, I'm looking at all these things. If the rook comes there, then I take, and I have, you know, the rook is kind of glued to this pawn. He just hangs his rook. He's like, no, there's nothing wrong. Boop. Hangs the rook. And resigns. That's the game. Those were the games. If you made it this far, please leave a comment saying, yo! Because, yeah. It would be cool to know who actually watched the entire video. I really appreciate all of you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next installment of chess. Okay, bye-bye.